Since 2003, this is the Sports Source, East Tennessee's #1 sports talk show.
Presented by Pipe Wrench, and by Junk Be Gone, and by the Garza Law Firm.
With your host, John Pennington. The Sports Source starts now.
Good Sunday morning and welcome into the Sports Source here in the Junk Be Gone studios. Happy to have you with us. Tennessee loses 38-10 to #1 Georgia yesterday as the Bulldogs stretched their SEC regular season win streak to 28 games. And they are doing it at a time when the league is more balanced than ever. You could make a case this is the greatest run in the history of the league, greater than the two Alabama teams that they tied yesterday. Tennessee drops to 7-4. Their 14-game home win streak is over. What the heck is wrong? That's going to be part of our discussion today. Let me show you what else is a part of this discussion today. On the docket for the day, top takeaways from the game, worst coaching moves yesterday, what's happened to the defense, a Heupel issue or an SEC issue. That's going to be interesting for you. A little context for a number we've been kicking around here the last few weeks. Recruiting, we'll get your recruiting update. Nico, what's more important for him this year, experience or the red shirt that they're apparently targeting? Offensive creativity, is it enough? Scorching viewer email that you're really going to love. We'll see how our VFLs react to that. The Cavaleris line and much more. And it's all brought to you today by the Garza Law Firm. This time of year, it's about helping those in our community who need it. Fishpantry.org does that. Send your Christmas card list to Fish Pantry, folks, right now. Send your Christmas card list to Fish Pantry. They will address, stamp, and send Christmas cards in your names to the whole list for a small donation of $5. $5 in the Christmas list to Fish Pantry. They'll send out Christmas cards in your name for just $5. It's a great cause. It helps to end hunger this Christmas. Fishpantry.org, the Garza Law Firm, always a big partner with Fish Pantry, and we appreciate both of them for doing what they're doing this Christmas season, and you too can take part. Visit fishpantry.org to learn more. All right, let's welcome in the first wave of panelists today. We have right over here Jimmy Himes, and then we have the VFL section, which is Mike Stoll, Kevin Simon, Marlon Walls. Gentlemen, thanks for being in here. 2 weeks in a row, it's been an ugly loss. These are not the fun shows, but we must trudge through. All right, so we're going to be talking about the Tennessee beatdown to Georgia. Georgia blasted them 38-10. But now is the time for our poll question. I'm always interested to see what we get. I write these poll questions like early in the morning. This one was put up like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm reacting to what I'm seeing on social media and what I'm getting. For some reason, during a game, when you're mad, you go to sportsource.tv and send me an email about it. So I write these questions accordingly, and then apparently everybody cools off because the numbers right here aren't as bad as what I was seeing last night. An 8-4 regular season record is, you tell us, about what I expected, a big disappointment, totally unacceptable. And right now, only 5 say it's totally unacceptable. Last night, I would have said that was 99% of you. So 62% about what I expected, 33% a big disappointment. Use the QR code right there. Use your smartphone. It'll take you to our website, or just go to sportsource.tv/polls. Give us your answer. It's a fun way to be interactive with the show, and we want to follow along and see what you think about an 8-4 regular season. Now I'm going to shut up and let these guys tell me what their big takeaways were from yesterday's game, and I'll start right there with Mr. Himes.
John, my concern, the big takeaway to me is what's going on with Tennessee's offense. I think they have scored a touchdown on 8 of their possessions to start a game, and then what happens? You don't score in the second half against Georgia, and Georgia's got a really good defense. You don't score in the second half against Missouri, which doesn't have a real good defense. You didn't score in the second half against Alabama. So is it adjustments by the other team? What's going on? Why is the offense disappearing in the second half when you're playing good opponents? That concerns me, and it came up again against Georgia. Georgia's got a better team, no doubt about it, but still, where's the offense going in the second half?
Makes me wonder if you don't have a coach who can scheme it up, puts it out there, but he's basically got one hand behind his back this year, it seems. And it's like once the other team figures out that's all you got? Okay, got him. I may be wrong. That's what I'm wondering at the moment. Off of that, we'll discuss that a little bit later. We'll talk offensive creativity. Mike Stoll, what's your big takeaway?
Well, the old adage, they remember what you do in November. And for me, that means because Tennessee's always improving and increasing on what they're doing and building, and the talent's improved. That has been total regression this year, kind of to Jimmy's point. To your poll, is 8-4 what we expected? Or, everybody's kind of saying that. I would say the development and the players and the performance that they're putting on the field is well below what I expected, especially seeing the beginning of the season and where they've gone. So, yes, Georgia was better yesterday. Give them credit. We didn't have a great chance to win, but what they put on the field and the way they executed and played, huge disappointment.
There are different types of 8-4.
That's exactly right.
Okay. Marlon Walls, I'll start down there and I'll work my way back. What are you doing?
Recruiting. We tried to play some zone. They figured out the zone. Our guys was left on the island. We couldn't cover that guy across in the middle. They end up completing a bunch of those big third downs that would have been big momentum swings. And it was just, hey, their guy's better than our guy. So for us, it's I would say we've got to do a really good job of hitting the recruiting trail. If that means locking up the state, truly mean locking up the state, let's go get some guys that can play on the island that can help us out. So I would say my biggest thing right now, my biggest disappointment from yesterday, a takeaway I should say, is the fact that the talent level is so far away from each other.
Before I go to Kevin and let you follow up on that, let me put this up here. All right, what you're seeing there, those are the 24/7 recruiting rankings for Georgia and Tennessee. Guess which one Georgia is? And in parentheses is the number of 5 stars. All right, and that goes all the way back to 2020. Georgia, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 1st in the country in recruiting. Tennessee, 10th last year, 17th, 22nd, 11th. You have 1 5-star to their 18, and your 1 5-star is a freshman quarterback who's not getting in. Not to mention the fact, if you remember all these numbers and add them all up, oh yeah, you did have to negate some scholarships on your own due to the NCAA stuff, and you had about 35 guys leave with Jeremy Pruitt when all that blew up. It's not equal talent out there. No. Kevin, you're a former NFL scout for how many franchises? Cowboy? Okay.
Dallas Cowboys and Atlanta Falcons.
All right. As a former NFL scout, talk to me about the talent difference between Georgia and Tennessee. Because I know that's your takeaway, right?
Yeah, the old adage is it's about the Jimmys and Joes, not the X's and O's, and that was fully on display in this game. We're just not quite there yet. We're not ready to battle, to come out on the winning end of some of those top-tier battles against the Alabamas, against the Georgias yet.
What about, we talked yesterday afternoon during the game, and I asked you, all right, what if fans start saying, it's year 3, why aren't we seeing his guys? Takes a little bit.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of time, but so with the transfer portal, it actually helps teams to be able to bridge the gap a little quicker. Texas is a team that you point to that's done really well in the transfer portal. Tennessee might want to look to take a couple swings in the portal, but then it's going to take 3 to 4 years of the recruiting classes, and we're in year 3 of Heupel's regime. So if you're recruiting on that level, it's going to take a few classes, and obviously we're not quite there yet.
Because you're going to need guys to get into the system, understand the system, put on weight, get in the weight room, all that stuff. You're not just going to recruit a bunch of 5-stars and they're going. That's the thing about Georgia. They're getting all these 5-stars. Those guys are sitting on the bench waiting for the next 5-stars to go to the NFL.
Yeah, so
which you don't have.
Yeah, so there's draft and develop, right?
Yeah.
And the Green Bay Packers, they do a great job of it. The San Francisco 49ers have got a lot of homegrown guys in there. So we're not drafting, or you can look at it. We have 25 first-round draft picks. That's what Georgia has. That's what Alabama has. And other teams aren't shooting with a loaded pistol like they are.
I wonder. You tell me. Tennessee goes into that game yesterday against Georgia's defense, which has won 28 regular season games in a row now, without your 2 starting tackles. At what point? You also had McDonald out. He's replaced by Thomas. Thomas gets hurt, so you got a guy who hasn't played in there. I don't want to use injuries as an excuse against Missouri. Against Georgia, it's hard for me not to consider that. One, you're not on an even playing field with them to begin with. When they lose guys, it's just another 5-star, 4-star. You don't have that right now. So I don't want to make excuses I think that's just a reality yesterday.
Yeah, great point to that. Early in the game, the left tackle for Georgia went down and went out, right? They brought in this guy. I don't know how much he's played or how much he hasn't played. First couple plays, he gave up pressure and scrambled the quarterback out. So, okay, that makes a difference. Locked it down after that, right? So we don't do that very well when we're starting, and then the guy that comes in, it's just not being on the same page. I think that's a perfect example of how you lose a left tackle, a guy comes in, picks it up.
Here's what I say to that too, though. I don't think this game was like last year's game. Last year's game, Hendon Hooker had guys hanging all over him, right? You had the big draft pick for the Eagles. I didn't see that yesterday. I didn't see a ton of guys that just were like Milton had to go right away because that guy's coming in and they're hanging all over him. So I know we were missing our 2 tackles. I didn't see a last year's version of the game where like Hendon Hooker knew I got 2 seconds and this thing's got to go.
All right, let me go ahead and show you the game gauge. We do this every week. It's numbers that we dug up back before the season. You go back through Josh Heupel's entire career, and basically if he hits these numbers, he wins about 85-90% of the time, sometimes 95%. Not yesterday. Rushing yards, you got to 130, but that's a lot of
one play.
Yeah, that's a lot of one play, and you did nothing the rest of the game. Yards per rush, it's helped by the
75
by the 70.
run.
Thank you, Mike. That's good. I'll start yards per play. That was
My old color is kicking in.
That's
Sorry
good.
about
Do
this.
it. No, you're good. I'm stumbling. All right, sacks. You didn't get to the 3 that you need for there. Now let's take a look at the Heupel's record is now stat 16-20 when allowing 27 or more points. Only 1-12 now. Drop that one when they score less than 30. When Tennessee scores less than 30, which has happened a lot more this year than I anticipated, they are now 1-12. And they tied in the turnover battle, so that one didn't change this week. All right, when we come back, and let me tell you, we got a lot to cover in this show as we put up at the very beginning. But when we come back, who's the best player on the field? How did they compare to Tennessee's counterpart at that position, if we go where I think we're going to go? And then also, what was the worst coaching move? Tennessee or Georgia? Did they make any bad moves? We got somebody on here who'll find one. Come on back on the Sports Source.